It happened on an ordinary afternoon, the kind where life feels slow, predictable, almost too quiet. The sun was dipping behind the city's glass buildings, leaving streaks of orange across the sky as Emma walked through the park with her 7-year-old son Noah. Her hand clutched his tightly, her eyes set straight ahead, unaware that this short walk home would lead her face to face with a past she thought she had buried forever. Noah tugged at her hand, pointing his little toy car toward the benches near the trimmed hedges. "Mommy, look, the car's racing," he said, his laughter echoing through the quiet path. Emma smiled faintly, her heart warmed by his innocence. But the peace of that moment shattered in a heartbeat, when Noah suddenly stopped, his eyes fixed on a man walking toward them from the other end of the path. He wore a light gray coat, the collar turned up against the cold breeze, his steps slow but deliberate. His face looked calm, almost distant, but the moment Emma's eyes met his, time seemed to stop. The air grew heavy, her pulse quickened, and the memories she had fought for years came crashing back like waves against the shore. Before she could react, Noah tilted his head curiously and asked in his small, innocent voice, "Do you know him, Mommy?" Emma froze. Her lips parted but no words came out. Her silence hung in the air, heavy, trembling, louder than any scream could ever be. If you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and second chances, please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us share more stories that touch hearts and remind us all of the power of love and hope. It had been 8 long years since Emma last saw Daniel, the man standing just a few steps away now, the man who once held her heart so fiercely and then shattered it into 1,000 pieces. He was Noah's father, though Noah didn't know that. Emma had left Daniel when she was 3 months pregnant. Their love, once bright and fearless, had turned into a storm of misunderstandings, financial struggles, and pain. Daniel had dreams that took him miles away, big, ambitious dreams that Emma wanted to support but couldn't bear the loneliness that came with them. One night, after another argument about broken promises and forgotten dinners, she packed her bags and walked out of the apartment, quietly, without saying goodbye. She had started a new life in another city, building a small, safe world for her and her unborn child. She told herself she was doing the right thing, protecting her baby from a man who didn't seem ready for fatherhood. But deep down, she knew the truth. She had been afraid of being disappointed again, afraid of giving her heart one more chance only to watch it break again. And now here he was, standing right there, looking at her with eyes that still remembered every goodbye she never said. Daniel took a slow step forward, his face pale as if he had seen a ghost. The sight of Noah made him stop. For a moment, confusion flashed across his face, then realization. His breath hitched, his hands trembled slightly. Noah, with the same brown eyes, the same small frown when curious, looked so much like him that it felt like looking into a mirror of his own childhood. "Mommy, why isn't he saying anything?" Noah whispered, still holding up his toy car. Emma's heart clenched. She wanted to speak, to explain, to somehow undo the weight of all those lost years, but her voice wouldn't come. All she could do was look at Daniel and silently beg him not to say it. Not here, not like this. The air between them was filled with everything they'd never said. Daniel forced a small, broken smile, the kind that comes from someone who's just realized they've stumbled upon a part of their life they thought was gone forever. He took one more step closer, careful not to frighten Noah. "That's a nice car," he said softly, his voice steady but fragile. Noah grinned, proud of his toy, and held it up higher. "It's red, like Lightning McQueen." Emma turned away slightly, blinking back tears. She didn't want Daniel to see them. Not after all these years. The silence stretched long after Daniel walked away, his steps slow, his shoulders heavy with everything left unsaid. Emma and Noah continued toward home, but her mind stayed behind in that park. Every corner of the city suddenly felt haunted by memories. The cafe where they used to sit for hours talking about dreams, the bookstore they'd wander through on rainy Sundays, the bridge where he first told her he loved her. That night, as she tucked Noah into bed, he asked again, "Mommy, who is that man today?" Emma brushed his hair gently, smiling faintly. "Just someone Mommy used to know." But he looked at you like he missed you, Noah said innocently. Did you miss him too? Her throat tightened. Sleep now, sweetheart, she whispered. But long after Noah fell asleep, Emma sat by the window staring into the quiet night, and when she finally closed her eyes, she remembered his voice, his laughter, his promises, and the way he used to call her name like it was the most precious word in the world. The next morning, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that fate was not done with her yet. Life had a strange way of making people cross paths again, sometimes to heal, sometimes to finally close old wounds. A week passed before it happened again. Emma was sitting in her favorite cafe, sipping coffee while working on her laptop, when the door opened and a familiar figure walked in, Daniel. Her heart skipped a beat. He looked just the same, maybe a little older, a little more tired, but still carrying that quiet intensity that had once drawn her in like gravity. He saw her immediately, paused for a second, and then walked over. Emma, he said softly. She looked up, her hands trembling slightly. Daniel. For a few seconds neither spoke. The air between them was thick with memories, the kind that never really fade, no matter how many years pass. I didn't know, he finally said, his voice low, breaking. About him. About Noah. Emma's eyes filled with tears. I didn't plan for you to, she whispered. You were chasing your dreams. I didn't want to be another reason to hold you back. Daniel shook his head. You weren't holding me back, Emma. You were my reason to move forward. But when you left, I lost everything I was running for. Tears blurred her vision. She wanted to say she was sorry, but sorry felt too small for 8 years of absence. For a long moment, they sat in silence, just looking at each other. Two souls who had once been everything to one another, now strangers bound by a child they both loved. Finally, Daniel broke the silence. Can I see him? Emma hesitated, her heart pounding. He doesn't know, she whispered. I understand, Daniel said softly, but maybe someday, when you think it's right, I'd like to be part of his life. His words carried no anger, no accusation, only quiet hope. Days turned into weeks, and slowly, something shifted in Emma's heart. Daniel began coming to the park on weekends, never imposing, never pushing. He'd sit on a bench reading while Noah played nearby. Sometimes he'd offer Noah a smile, or help him pick up a ball that rolled too far. It started small, like the slow thaw of winter turning into spring. One afternoon, Noah ran up to him, holding his toy car. Want to race with me? He asked. Daniel smiled, his heart almost bursting. I'd love to. From that day, they began to talk. Daniel became a quiet presence in Noah's world, a man who listened to his stories, clapped for his drawings, and taught him how to ride a bike. And though Noah didn't yet know the truth, Emma could see the bond forming, something deep, something natural. One evening, as the sun set over the park, Noah turned to his mother again. Mommy, that man, he feels nice, like he knows me. Emma smiled through tears. Maybe he does, sweetheart, she whispered. That night she finally told him the truth, softly, gently. Noah's eyes widened in surprise. He's my dad? He whispered. Emma nodded, her heart trembling. Yes, baby, he is. Noah was quiet for a moment, then he smiled. I knew it. The next day when Daniel arrived at the park, Noah ran to him, not with hesitation, but with open arms. Daniel froze for a moment, stunned, before kneeling down and hugging his son for the first time. It was a moment that rewrote years of silence. Emma watched them from a few steps away, tears streaming down her face. The man she once left behind had found his way back, not through promises or apologies, but through quiet persistence and love that never truly faded. As Daniel looked up at her, holding Noah close, Emma finally smiled, the kind of smile that only comes from forgiveness, from healing, from finding peace after years of pain. Sometimes, life doesn't give us perfect endings, but it gives us second chances, and sometimes, that's even more beautiful. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, comment, and share it. Subscribe to our channel for more emotional, real-life stories that remind us all of the beauty of forgiveness and the strength of love. Before you go, tell us in the comments, what would you do if someone from your past suddenly appeared, asking not for forgiveness, but for a second chance?